So, Mark, did you see that street performer on the strip narrating the craziest night of this person's life as he says, "You're going to jail tonight"?
Going to jail, chip. You're going to jail tonight.
I've had that song in my head like all morning now for a couple days at least. And it's so funny. And I want to know, I want to like have this video back up a bit to show what she did. I mean, I think she's in like a jumper or romper or whatever they're called. Looks nice. It's daytime. What can you do to get busted on the strip during the daytime?
I don't know, but people should go listen to this. And I warn you, it will get stuck in your head. You will be singing it in the shower.
Going to jail, chip. You're going to jail tonight.
She's probably trying to sell trim and prim.
Rambo has died, Mark. Did you know that Rambo lived in Southern Nevada, or the guy that Rambo was based on? Let's start with this. James Bo Gritz. He lived out in Sandy Valley, Mark. A lot of people have never heard of Sandy Valley. It's not too far from like Gene and Prim. Maybe 1,500 people or so live out there. It's one of those desert communities with a very interesting group of people. He loved it. He called it home. He was 87, but the character Rambo was based on him. It sounds like a badass to me.
Yeah, today I learned Rambo is not fictional. It's a documentary. No, that's pretty crazy. I never realized it was based on anything. I thought it was just some person's like, hey, let's make this really cool dude out in the woods, create all these traps and stuff. But it's kind of fun to find out that he lived in Vegas and lived, well, near Vegas. And you bury the lead. He lived just around the corner from Good Springs. Fallout fans, would get that.
Yeah, get the burger over the Pioneer Saloon. The real lead is he was the one who like negotiated or ended the Ruby Ridge sort of thing by just walking in and negotiating with the guy. Nuts. I mean, interesting guy, interesting story. Never heard anything about him before today. Rest in peace. But another quirky Southern Nevadan. So Metallica announced their residency at the Sphere a couple weeks ago, and tickets have started to go on sale. One of the things I've seen across the internet is people complaining about prices being very high. They announced, I think, 8 shows, and then right now they are sort of announcing 6 more shows. Every residency at the Sphere, just so people know, they announce an initial set of shows, then they will announce more shows later. This is pretty typical. But did you see this from Carrie? I guess they have this full house ticket, which includes all the shows, and it has like $900 in fees on the tickets, which is insane. But if you love Metallica, you love Metallica.
Yeah, I think that's pretty standard these days. I mean, I've gone to Ticketmaster and tried to buy tickets to an event like this, a concert, and the fees sometimes will be like 50% of the ticket price, which is just crazy. But it doesn't shock me too much when you're talking a several $1,000 ticket to go to all these shows that it would have a ton of fees. When you break it down, it's a little over, I think, $300 a show. If you are huge into Metallica and you are in the Vegas area and you could go to all the shows, I don't think it's a terrible deal. Maybe you'll get some extra like perks or get to meet the band. I don't know. If you do something like that, I feel like you should get a little extra spiff to it.
Yeah, the hotel packages, some of these fan packages were insane prices. But I mean, that works out to over $100 in fees per ticket. Why is a processing fee and a handling fee a percentage of the amount? Why is that not just a flat fee? It makes no sense.
It doesn't, because they can charge it so that it's just profit for them. There's no handling. It's all clicks of buttons. Like there's no cost to them for selling this thing.
Now, one of the good sides of them adding more seats or more shows to these residencies is that eventually it becomes easier to get tickets. And Backstreet Boys just started selling tickets to a bunch of their shows. And this morning I looked at some of the dates in August, and there's still tickets available in some of the cheaper seats, some of the less desirable seats, meaning it hasn't sold out yet. It will, but it just means that you don't have to be there like right at the crunch moment, maybe some more opportunity as these bands add more shows over time.
Yeah, I think that's what, early adopters always gobble up the tickets. And that's also when the resellers are going to be in there hot and heavy trying to buy what they can. And I know Metallica does their best to fight against that. And I don't know what they've set up for this concert, but I'm sure they have something in place to try to, but you can't really get around it. So it's good to see as they add on and all the people have seen the show and you get more opportunity.
We're about to talk about some of the most clever food in Las Vegas. But before we do that, I'd love to invite you to subscribe to the channel. Thousands of you watch every show and are not subscribed. Please go ahead and do that. Helps us out, helps us reach more people. So let's talk clever food. This is how I name the segment because I love to name segments. But let's start 303 in the cut. You like this because he was just innocently reviewing the food, this guy out there. Of course, the joke is that he owns the business. But on the side note, I've heard of this place. It looks, for food truck food, looks pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. He's like, never been here before, but I heard this is great. And then he knows all these details. And then at the end, he lets everybody in on the joke. And some people in the comments still don't understand that it's a joke. And they're like, wait, you own this. And that adds some amusement to it. But I thought the food looked pretty good. I think he's outside of a strip club too in the video. So that adds a little bit more. I mean, that's kind of a great idea if they allow you to be there. They move around quite a bit, it seems like. And I would check it out if I saw it.
Yeah, it definitely looks like drunk food, right? Like very heavy,
Yeah.
greasy drunk food, but in the very best way. But what about ice cream fried chicken? This comes from Looper inside Area 15. The Vegas account shared about it recently. Yeah, it's what it says. It's ice cream that looks like fried chicken.
Yeah, and it's got I think pretzels in the middle of it that you can eat. I mean, salty, sweet always go together. And I think it's like a cornmeal type of thing on the outside of the ice cream. So it looks like chicken, but there's no chicken in it, at least. I know people probably gross out when they hear that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to taste like ice cream, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think there's grosser things to see. Looper is a place we haven't talked about that has opened at Area 15. And I guess their most unique thing is they have a carousel that they say is psychedelic.
I mean, it looks like a carousel with like weird animals on it. It looks cool and definitely will draw some people in it. They made the carousel unique. I mean, it seems like every mall in America at one time had a carousel, and this doesn't look like any of those.
But it does just sort of look like a normal carousel. And it is family friendly, which is good. I mean, that was my thought. I was waiting for something a little bit more over the top when I saw the video of this thing. But yeah, it looks neat and bringing that sort of atmosphere in there. Go get your fried chicken ice cream and ride the psychedelic carousel over at Looper, or go down to Four Queens and get the social media menu at Hugo Cellar. They didn't give the prices for any of this stuff, though, Mark.
No, but I think it's kind of fun that they have like a semi-hidden type of menu that you have to follow them on social media to get like a peek at and stuff like that. So I'll be interested to hear if people think there's value on the prices, which with it being Four Queens probably will be, and then what they think of the food.
Hugo Cellar is a great place, very old school Vegas, tableside sort of service. It used to be more of a value, I think, than it is now. Just having looked at prices, I haven't been there in a few years, but if you're looking for that classic Vegas experience, Hugo Cellar definitely in the mix of restaurants downtown that'll give it to you. And yeah, it's neat, as always, with their social media presence. They're definitely trying hard on the social media front. And I talked on Monday's show about some of the numbers and how downtown is struggling with occupancy was like 64% in January. Their average rate is less than half of what it is on the Strip. So they really do need to overcome some obstacles in this slower economy. And finally, let's move over to M Resort. We talked a lot about them recently. They added their second tower. They're trying to attract more business, the official hotel of the Raiders. And now they have $5 top shelf cocktails all day at their casino bar. Glenlivet 12, Flecha Azul Tequila, Woodford Reserve, Tito's, and more. So we've seen the cheaper sort of cocktail specials at station casinos somewhere on the Strip. But here you go, top shelf, $5. Not top shelf, though.
Yeah, I don't know how you buried the lead with Blanton's on the list, and I mean the horse and everything, just the story of it. I love it. But these are usually cocktails or brands that you see in the $15-$20 range. I think in New Orleans, this was like 2019. Old fashioned with Blanton's was $17, something like that. So you can only imagine what they'd be like in Vegas. So it's cool to see this, and you're not going bottom shelf and just trying to give people the cheapest stuff possible. So I think this is a lot of fun, something different. And if you're into these type of drinks, I think it would draw people in.
It's interesting because who are you going for? Somebody who's more discerning, maybe has more money, so they're willing to, they often drink higher shelf cocktails. Are they going to be the ones to spend more money in your casino? And yeah, so it's an interesting sort of strategy here. We've seen the budget properties go with cheaper drinks in order to attract people who are looking for a value. But I do think M Resort is trying to attract more locals, more people going for the night out. And that $5 sort of drink, even for fancy people, it's hard to turn down. The reason I didn't mention Blanton's is because it was right next to Remy Martin, and I didn't know how to say that with the French and all that, and I didn't want to get correct.
Well, it happened anyway. But no, I think that's a good point. Like somebody, maybe their spouse or significant other is into this stuff, and that will bring them in. They can get them to go to the M, or maybe that's where they go. Or maybe the Bud Light Bros can try to elevate themselves for a night.
Well, if the Bud Light Bros don't get enough top shelf at M, how about going over to Fontainebleau for their Noble Suite? Carrie Balicki, she did a tour. She's been on fire. We always tell you to follow her. She's not an influencer, but she's one of the best Vegas followers of all time, like of anybody out there, as somebody who's heavy into the space. But she got this Noble Suite. It has a unique layout because of the architecture of the building. Features 2 bathrooms, which is nice. Living room, bedroom, a very nice suite. I want to talk about the shower. There's a giant shower in there, but no tub, which is interesting. Going back to that same debate, do people who have suites want a tub and a shower?
Yeah, and the shower's big enough that you can have that half glass and it probably works without getting everything wet. But we see people that are in high-end rooms want a tub, and if you have 2 bathrooms, you think you'd put a tub in one. They definitely have the space for it, so that's not the problem. I'm kind of surprised they wouldn't, but it's a beautiful suite. Can we back it up a minute, though, and just comment on how awesome their hallway carpet is? I know we've said it before, but I still think it's the best hallway carpet in Vegas.
Yeah, and the room designs hold up really well as far as the colors and nailing modern, but not feeling too generic. And I don't think there's anything bad to say about the rooms and the way it looks. The showers are even pretty, the materials that they use. But this almost looks like, feels like I'm obsessed with the shower, but it almost feels like a Japanese shower where in Japan, they'll have these like giant showers where the tub is inside the shower. So it gets wet, like there's space to shower, or you can get inside the tub. It almost seems big enough they could have put the tub inside the shower.
Anybody that's been to Tommy Austin has seen that setup too, but the shower is much smaller. It's not the most pleasant setup.
No, this is not what I'm talking about. This is not what I'm talking about, Mark. Are you looking to save money on your Vegas trip in 2026? Las Vegas Advisor Book is just $45 with the code MTM, or use the link down in the description. You can save hundreds of dollars all around Las Vegas, free play, 2-for-1 coupons, all kinds of savings, hotel savings, shows, and more. Check it out. Save 10% with code MTM. Save some money on your next Vegas trip. So let's talk nostalgia. We love to talk nostalgia. How about the 90s video shop, Y2K? I was on the strip for Y2K. It's kind of sad that we're now going to have a throwback speakeasy. I'm bearing the lead for something I was on the strip for. Now it making me feel old, but this 90s video pop-up thing is coming to a tavern bar. I guess they've done it in other cities, and it's supposed to be nostalgic for that era. The pictures, Mark, they look kind of cheap to me.
Yeah, they do. And I know you've been to the world's last Blockbuster. You got me this little gift from there, the Blockbuster card. And I would have liked them to do it like that, like make it feel more legit. I'm very excited about this. I think it's such a cool idea. The drinks look fun. The idea is great. And just kind of walking around there, the throwback, we all kind of miss that Friday night vibe where we would just go there and try to get NBA Jam for the Sega Genesis or pick out the new movie. You walk through Blockbuster and they have like 50 copies and they're all rented out because it just came out that week, and just the memories from that. And then you see it and it does look like they just kind of slapped some stuff together.
Yeah, maybe we're thinking of some of the activations we see on the strip, which have much higher budgets. I don't know, but I think the idea is great. And I think Vegas Uncomped is the one who saw this and we saw it from. So shout out to him. The only pictures I think we're seeing is from other cities. So maybe they got more of a budget to do it in Vegas, but a great idea. And just a reminder that our generation is the most nostalgic, or at least it seems like that.
Yeah, I think we're definitely playing into that, and they're playing into that. And anytime something like this comes, we get excited about it. So hopefully it does really well. I'd love to see it become like a mainstay or not just a pop-up and be there long term.
So speaking of nostalgia, I'm nostalgic for when slot machines used to pay back more than 83.6%. But did you see this? Bill Krakenberger shared this week. Somebody managed to get him a shot of what it looks like on the settings screen of a slot machine. Now, he doesn't say what casino this is at, but it is set at 83.96%, which is brutal, absolutely brutal. And for people who don't understand, and I have a cursory understanding of this, manufacturers will deliver slot machines with a menu, and the menu can have several different payback percentages, and then the casino chooses which they want to do. 83.96% would be like conspiracy to how cruise ships are. This is how bad it would be, and Bill very rightly points it out. Now, there's another rumor that casinos will just change this amount whenever they want, but in Nevada, you need the gaming control board to be there with you when you go inside the machine to change it. So I've heard casino manager Adam at El Cortez say once they set them, then they don't change them, but we don't ever know what they set them to, and there is no legal right for the gambler to know. And it seems, anecdotally, maybe they're tightening the screws a bit behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's a terrible. I mean, we were talking what was it, like a month or two ago, the hold rates were like in the 92, and we were talking how a slight percentage drop there is huge. This is like otherworldly bad compared to the levels that we see on average across the thing. So if you get unlucky enough to sit at this machine, man, that is tough.
It's brutal. And I think 75% is the minimum that you can do on a machine under Nevada law. And the difference between like 83% and 91% is significant. You're thinking about your bonuses are going to come less often, but just the raw math. And you should always just sort of look at the raw math, and it'll tell you how much worse that is compared to a video poker machine that pays 98% payback, or even a slot machine at 91%. Or something like that. Are we at a point where this should be disclosed? I mean, if we're talking about consumer protections, why shouldn't that number be disclosed?
Yeah, I mean, we see it when they advertise when it's to the good, when they're like, oh, over 100% or 99% payback, stuff like that. They always advertise that. So I think there should be, like when you go to the menu page, a lot of people wouldn't know to look for it, even if you added it. But I think it should be on the menu, the pay table, stuff like that. It should explain what the percentage is so people would know and move on to the next one.
And that's one of the advantages of video poker too, because you can tell the payback percentage based on the pay table. You don't have to do that. And there are some states that require casinos to publish their return to player. In Nevada, we do get it for markets, but we don't get it for each individual thing. So every state a little bit different, but just a reminder that this does exist on menus, and even worse than that, I bet.
Yeah, I bet you there's some 75s out there.
Maybe at one of the next company's casinos. I don't know. But I want to talk about this conspiracy theory. I love this conspiracy theory, and it came from the comments. But let's start with Bally's buying Samstown Shreveport. And this is, why is Bally's buying anything? I mean, this is the same company struggling to finish their Chicago property. I think they got approved for their New York casino. Of course, the old Trop site and the A's stadium, they've had to cut back that project significantly. But here they are buying the 29,000 square foot Samstown in Shreveport, 750 slot machines, 14 table games, a 514 room hotel. And they also already have a casino in that market. This makes no business sense unless you take this conspiracy theory that a commenter had. Mark my words, no pun intended. Boyd just sold a property to Bally's. Bally's doesn't have two nickels to rub together. I predict Bally's is going to trade the operating rights where the A's are building to Boyd. Now, they did not announce a purchase price in this Samstown acquisition, so we don't know what they're paying. Could it possibly be that they trade the rights to the Tropicana site for this casino in Louisiana?
Don't you think it'd be worth more than that? Maybe they'll get some cash too on the back end coming back to you. But if I'm not mistaken, like the Bally's is right next door, so this is extra weird that you would want a property right next door. Maybe they'll partner them up together, marry them up, make them sister properties, so it might work in that facet. But the potential of the A's site is worth so much more, I would think, than this. So we'll have to see. But that would be a great way to get out of maybe some financial troubles, out from under the requirements here, that the stuff you need to build. If they could pull that switcheroo, be kind of like a trade in in sports. Like, hey, you take my better player, I'll take your lesser player, and you kick me some money.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot that they're trying to do, and they're trying to become a huge player, obviously. They won one of the NYC casino contracts, that Chicago casino. They're already operating the temporary one. It's mind-boggling because every time you look at this company, which a lot of their finances are private, but it doesn't seem like they are of the scale to be able to pull off all this stuff. And I guess the question is, what is the option to build on that site worth? Because that's all we're talking about. Maybe not the future revenue, but what is the option today? And if they can't pull it off, Boyd, I guess this is important to mention, they once had aspirations to be on the Las Vegas Strip, announcing Echelon, which was going to be the largest hotel casino project in the entire world. And that eventually went belly up and turned into Resorts World many, many years later. So it's not like Boyd has never flirted with the Strip before.
Yeah, and Resorts World didn't look anything like what we thought we were going to get either. So we got double whammied on that. Thanks a lot, 2007, 2008, for torpedoing all of those things. But no, this would be kind of unique for Boyd. It would be a big story if they were able to pull it off. I think it'd be kind of fun. And they definitely would be in a better position to get this going. I think people would think it'd give the whole project more credence if it was Boyd coming in, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, other than that, I don't know if this is true or not. This comes from a commenter. I think it's a great idea. But outside of that, does it make a ton of sense that they're buying a casino right next to their existing casino in a market that they're already in? I don't know. So let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about today. Metallica and their crazy fees for their tickets. The A site, is this conspiracy something that you think? Fried chicken ice cream, does that look good to you? Let us know down in the comments. We do 3 shows a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and we'll be back in a couple days with another show. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Tell us why you think the girl got arrested, but wrong answers only below. Have a good week, everybody.